Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my Mick Schumacher career mode here on the F1 2017 game. Now today we are here for round number 8 for the Mexican Grand Prix, continuing on our US tour, and we've got one more race at Brazil before we go back to Europe for the rest of the season. But you guys absolutely smashed the support on the last episode for the USA Grand Prix. If you did miss it, then do check it out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But that episode went down really well. You guys really liked it, and overall a pretty enjoyable and surprising result and episode. So do check that one out because it was definitely a shock to the system. But we come to Mexico, and a few unknowns here realistically. Cars have dropped off performance again, and they've sort of the field sort of shifted around again, and a bit to what it used to be before the Circuit of the Americas. For some reason, some cars, for example like McLaren and Haas especially, couldn't really find the rhythm around here. The upgrades weren't working as well for them. They're not really sure why, but they just couldn't find that same performance, and that allowed an opportunity for teams like Renault and Alfa Romeo to really find a bit more pace and give them half a chance of actually getting back up through the field a bit. Now, in qualifying, Mick felt pretty confident. The practice runs looked really good, and there was a lot of reasons to be confident going into qualifying, and Mick felt like he could do a good job. Charles Leclerc also feeling like that Alfa Romeo could do some good damage in qualifying and then hopefully carry that over into the race tomorrow. Now, the race itself, there is wet weather expected. It's going to be intermediate conditions throughout the entirety of the race, so it doesn't matter what tyre you qualify in this particular qualifying session, as obviously this tyre is not going to be the one you're going to start the race on. So just for that corner there, very surprised Mick didn't get his lap time invalidated. Very fortunate, and the FI and the stewards didn't really actually look at the lap time there, but that could have easily been a lap invalidated due to a corner cut. So Mick counts off very lucky in this particular lap, and right now he's doing a good job actually, getting in amongst the big boys and not losing too much contact with the Ferraris and Porsches, and staying very close to the big boys. He's been able to go through the final corner, and coming towards the end of the lap, Mick currently in P9. Does he improve any further? I don't think he does. No, he does not, and he remains in 9th place. However, there's a lot of encouraging signs there. He was only a couple of tenths off of the pole position and was in that sort of bracket, if you like, of the big boys. As you can see, Vettel takes pole ahead of Lewis Hamilton on the front row, with Kimi Räikkönen in P3 and the second Ferrari. So Ferrari's first and third this weekend, really them upgrades that they brought in the last few races really working for them. Alonso only manages P4 in the Porsche, but look how close that top four is, covered by 69 thousandths of a second. Extremely competitive and tight for the battle for pole there, with Bottas and Pierre Gasly on the third row. Gasly, the lead Red Bull, really struggling around here, and then Esteban Ocon in the second Porsche ahead of Max Verstappen in the second Red Bull. And then look at that, Mick Schumacher just under half a second behind the pole time, which isn't too bad, and in amongst them leaders. And then there's a half a second gap all the way down to Nico Hülkenberg in P10. So like I mentioned, Mick really doing a good job of sort of getting in amongst big boys and actually mixing up and trying to compete with the top 8 and the 4 best teams in the sport right now. But if we take a look at the second half of the table, in the lower half of the group, we've got Daniel Ricciardo leading the way in P11 ahead of Charles Leclerc in the second Alfa Romeo. Ricciardo inside a second, just missing out on P10 behind Hülkenberg there, with Carlos Sainz in P13 on the row 7, with Stoffel Van Dorn alongside him in the second McLaren. Then we have Sergio Perez and Danny Kvyat making it an all-8th Jaguar row, and then we have Romain Grosjean, Pascal Wehrlein, Kevin Magnussen and Lance Stroll in Haas by Williams order to round out the top 20. But again, very close gaps here from Charles Leclerc down to pretty much, you know, Danny Kvyat, you could say, slash Romain Grosjean, really close there. Anyone could have shifted around in the positions, so there are some very close battles on the track. But that is your grid for the Mexican Grand Prix, and it's now time for the race for round number 8 of the season in the Mick Schumacher career mode. Right then, here we go, it's race time. Let's get ready for the 5 red lights for the Mexican Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's a very wet Circuito Hermanos Rodriguez, but we are underway. It's a good start actually, getting the slipstream off of the Porsche of Ocon. Everyone's sort of following their respective lines from where they started, but we are starting to just drop back a little bit here, getting caught up by the McLaren behind us. We're going to have to take it easy into turn 1 as we are forced to the outside. Yellow flags behind, no overtaking allowed, so we're going to have to get out of it for now. Illegal overtake on Max Verstappen. There we go, now we can go racing again, but we've been put on the back foot. We've lost the place down to P10, so not ideal. Charles Leclerc behind us. We've got a good exit out of turn 3 though. We're going to get the slipstream on the Red Bull of Verstappen. Are we close enough to go for a move on the braking here? We're going to have a little look, but Verstappen pretty good on the brakes in that Red Bull car. Hülkenberg getting a great start up at the 8th place in the Renault there. He definitely gained the most. As right now we're going relatively slowly here, getting used to the conditions, and this does open up the race to sort of give an opportunity and give a chance to those who won't normally be at the top to do well. So this could be a very open race, and there could be some surprises. Also, potential 1 to 2 stop strategy. We're looking at the 1 stop here today as I get all out of shape there through the S's, but some people might go for 2 stops, so that might provide another opportunity. So let's see how this race unfolds. It's going to be interesting. Intermediate conditions are a rare wet race in this career mode, so let's see how it goes. But right now we're definitely going a little bit slow here. Whoever's leading this train is holding us up a bit. I think it's a Ferrari who's going slow as we go deep into the final corner, locking up a little bit and straightening the car up. I wonder if we can get a run on the Red Bull here, because we're better than the Red Bull in a straight line. We're particularly not great in straights, but that Red Bull really isn't much better than us. So here we go. We are gaining on the Red Bull car. Not enough though. Verstappen is getting a toe off of Hulkenberg, it seems. So we're not going to make the move into turn 1. We are going to get very close though to the Dutchman. If we can stay close, maybe we can get another run down this back straight. If we can keep nice and close out of 3. On the power, nice and early again here. Very nice exit. Verstappen getting the toe on Hulkenberg here. We're going to go for the move on the braking. It's very late in the day, but we're going to go for it. Make sure Verstappen doesn't go back up the inside to cover off the inside line. And that is very nicely executed. And we're into 9th place. So back to where we started now. The Ferrari that's leading this train is definitely struggling for pace here. So we're all going to remain fairly bunched up, I think, for a little while. Everyone doing purple laps. We go faster than that last lap, so it goes to show everyone's sort of being held up at the moment. We are in the slipstream of Hulkenberg, and we've actually pulled away from Verstappen a little bit, so there might be some cars that are struggling in this situation, maybe with the potential dry setup. Who knows? Either way though, we are sniffing around Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg is sniffing around Ocon here, so this could be interesting, and we might have an opportunity here of gaining a few more places. As it does seem, we do have some pretty good pace here, as we're now in the slipstream of the Renault. Can we go for the move? Oh, I thought about it, but not. We wasn't as close as we were last lap to Verstappen, so we'll have to back out of that for now. But I'll try and get Hulkenberg on the home straight next time round if we can. It looks like there's been a change for the leader. Mercedes has taken first place and overtaken a Ferrari. So now you might see the pace of the race pick up a little bit, and things might start to get a little bit quicker here today. Okay, at the final corner, if I can just straighten up the car nice and early, which I have done. Beautiful exit. This time we are going to be right up close and personal with Nico Hulkenberg as we pull to the inside. Do we have enough on a straight to get past the Renault? He's going to be slipstreaming that Porsche, so he's going to get the benefit, but we are going to just edge ahead even before the brake zone, and we're now into P8, and Hamilton has already begun to open up a gap at the front. One of the Ferraris is struggling, and I can't tell which one it is, but they're causing a bit of a pile up here, so this is our chance to make the positions count and make the overtake, so we have to get past Ocon as soon as we can. We've got a good run on Ocon here out of the S's. That Porsche doesn't like the wet weather. Ocon's going defensive slightly. I want to try and set up the switchback on the Porsche driver. Oh, not quite. I was going to go for the outside there, but Ocon swiped right in front of me. We're going to stay nice and close though. We're going to have plenty of straight to get past him. Ocon is going to have no slipstream on anybody, which is good news. So here we go out the final corner, straightening up nice and early on the power. And we're actually going to almost get alongside out the final corner exit. We'll tuck in for some extra slipstream here, and then pull to the inside and try again. But that Porsche is just so quick in a straight line. Again, more slipstream, pull to the inside again. We're going to have to do this one on the brakes, I think. Ocon's gone very, very narrow on the apex of turn 1, but we've made it work under braking up to P7. And now let's try and break away and try and clear the Porsche. Very nice overtake. Hamilton sent the pace to Ferrari. Whatever problem it's got, the longer it stays there, the better it is for us, because we've got some pace in these conditions, it seems. We are flying in these conditions, fast up at the Grand Prix. This is a throwback to Spain when it was absolutely chucking it down and we won the race. This Sauber just comes alive in the wet weather, and we are quick, fast up at the Grand Prix, and we are hunting down this top 6. It's going to be this weather for the entire race, so this is good news for us. We've got the pace. We're going to have a really good chance here of actually maybe even going for a podium this race if we stay consistent and the tyre wear isn't too bad, especially if we can commit to the 1 stop. If we can make that work, we're going to be in a very good position. Hamilton isn't really walking away right at the front, and the Ferrari seem to have picked up the pace a little bit, but we are now on the back of this train, and we're going to try and make the moves. Okay, through the front corner, getting a very nice exit, a nice bit of traction here. We're going to get nice and close to Pierre Gasly in the slipstream. Edge to the inside, try and stay as close as we can for a bit of a side draft and a side slipstream. As we just edge in front, I'm going to try and close the door. There we go, and the move is done. P6 for us, and it's definitely Sebastian Vettel, the one who's struggling. So he's really holding up this train. Alonso doesn't have great pace either. He's sort of struggling to keep up with the Ferraris, who are struggling themselves. So the Porsches definitely, as we saw with Ocon, really struggling in this wet weather, and they don't really like the conditions. It seems like Ferrari, either Sebastian's got a car problem or he doesn't like the weather either, as he's made a mistake and Raikkonen has passed him. So Vettel definitely must have a car issue. But Alonso, for example, in the Porsche doesn't like these conditions. I'm pretty sure I can tell by the pace the Porsches have. So now Raikkonen's been released. He might go hunt down Lewis Hamilton, but right now we're looking very, very racy here, and we're looking to get past Valtteri Bottas, so let's try and get past him. Yeah, again, through the final corner, we're going to focus on picking up a nice bit of traction, which we have done. We're going to edge to the inside of Bottas momentarily, but he's going to pick up the slipstream from the Porsche, so we're going to follow the Mercedes here. Pull to the inside, again, he's going to start edging away as he picks the toe off of Alonso. We're going to dip in for a second, helping a slipstream. Pull to the inside. Can we get it on the brakes on Valtteri here? Yes, we do. Perfectly executed. And we're now P5. Up next, Fernando Alonso. Again, another Porsche. Very fast in a straight line, so it's going to be a challenge to get past. So we need to make sure we're very close coming out of that final corner next time round. But I think I might have a chance of passing Alonso before then, I feel, because that Porsche really is struggling to get the car turned in for the corners. It just looks like a bus, and we've got very close to Alonso here. We're going to get to the inside and just pass him very easily at the hairpin there. Unexpected, but that, like I said, that Porsche just struggling to really get turned through the corners. We've just absolutely just sailed past him up the inside there. This Sauber very nice and light and nimble and acting beautifully in these conditions. So we're now P4. Up next, the struggling Sebastian Vettel. We've had a lovely exit out the final corner here. And you can see we are gaining quite a lot on that Ferrari, and it's the same power unit as our car, but you can see the difference in slipstream this time round. I think Vettel definitely seems to be a little bit down on power as well. We've made the move, and we're now into a podium position. And there's Lewis up the road, and there's Kimi, so we could actually go on to win this race if we keep on with this pace. I don't know why the AI, they're struggling a lot in these conditions. I don't know if they really focus on qualifying or on a dry setup, but we've got some fantastic pace around this circuit with this car. And just like that, we've caught up to Kimi now. And actually, he comes in, so he could be on a 2-stop. That's a very early stop from the Ferrari driver. As we set another fast lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:30.1. We are flying around the circuit here. Let's look at the tyre wear a moment, and we're looking good for tyres actually. Rear's a little bit more worn, but I just done a fastest lap, so the pace is good. So right now, the team won't be in around 2 laps time, but I'm going to commit to this 1-stop, I think, because we are looking very good for pace at the moment. Lewis stays out, potentially going for that 1-stop. 29.5. We are really flying around the circuit now. These wet conditions, we are well under control in these, and we've got this all pretty much under control. So good in the wet. This car's phenomenal. I mean, we was pretty good in the dry. You saw by the qualifying gaps. We had the pace of the leaders. For some reason, the car, track combination has just really worked this weekend, and it's just felt hooked up. So this is good news, and hopefully long may it continue in terms, especially in these wet conditions, because I think even if this was a dry race, we could have definitely competed with the big boys. Not as fast as we are now in the wet, but we definitely would have been in the mix. We could have maybe made some strategy plays, and I think my tyre was a little bit worse than the dry, so this wet weather also does help us out a bit. But right now we are looking fantastic here in the wet at Mexico. Okay, I think Lewis has come in. Yes, he has. So Lewis also looking like on a 2-stop. I've got to be honest, looking at the tyre wear now, I need to get to lap 18 for a 1-stop. It's looking a bit tight for tyre wear, I've got to be honest with you. We are going to be pushing the risky 70% barrier. So considering my pace, I am now considering reverting back to the 2 and play it safe, just because we've got good pace anyway. So there's no point of risking a puncture, I feel. So I think I might come in this lap and just commit to the 2-stop instead. Right then, we're going to get ready for our first of 2 stops in this race. Bit of a strategy change, but no big deal. I feel like we've got this well under control, so we're not going to speed, take it easy. This race, I would say, is in our hands. Even though we're not leading, I feel like we're the fastest person here. So it's ours to lose, so let's just play our cards safe and take it 1 lap at a time. But here we go, into the pit box. Hopefully a pretty decent stop from the boys, 2.8. Pretty average, nothing spectacular. Charles Leclerc in the pit lane, so hopefully he doesn't get held up thanks to my stop, hopefully. And we're going to get up to speed. There's Lewis. We're going to rejoin some nice clean air in 2nd place. So now, there's the reference gap. Let's try and hunt down the Mercedes driver. Another fastest lap, 29.2. Getting straight to work on these fresh tyres. Hamilton 3.2 up ahead. He's actually picking up the pace. He's running pretty fast now. that Mercedes driver, but we are still a little bit quicker than him, so we are going to start catching him at this rate. 28.8, even faster still. Gap now 1.5, a whole second on that last lap. We are flying around the circuit, and very soon we're going to be making the move on Lewis Hamilton here. Here we go then, 6/10 to Lewis Hamilton the gap. Am I going to gain enough on this straight to make a move into turn 1? I think I might. We are gaining here quite a bit on the Mercedes driver. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. Hot. Hamilton locks up. We have to avoid the front wing damage, and we just turn out of the way in time as we make the move for the lead of the race here at Mexico. Fantastic move. Hamilton under pressure, making the mistake, just couldn't push anymore, and we are leading this race after starting from P9 on the grid. Fantastic stuff. Let's try and bring this one home, just over half race distance, so another 18 laps to go. Let's try and win this race. Another fastest lap, 28.6, as Hamilton, I believe, comes into the pit lane, so we're going to stay out probably into the end of lap 26, I think. So let's keep going. We're looking very good here, and very comfortable to win this race. Right, let's get ready for our second and final stop of the race here, onto a fresh set of the intermediate tyres, and this should be fairly straightforward as Stroll and also the McLaren of Van Dorn, I'm going to guess, pit in also. So here we go again, it's slowed down. McLaren here really struggling for pace, Haas as well, Williams, Jaguar, it's always gone back to what used to be a start of season, and the order's pretty much the same, with the exception of Ferrari being pretty quick around here, but who knows what's happened. But some teams in the wet especially just haven't really found much pace, so McLaren a bit of a loss when it comes to their pace, as are Williams. But you never know, they could be it could be like Haas in real life. They could be there one race and then bounce back in the next, but for sure Van Dorn, at least in the McLaren, really not working well this race, and that car is really not working here for some reason. Maybe in the wet it's not really working. They didn't really qualify well either, that's the thing, so who knows what their struggles may be. But either way, we rejoin on fresh inters, back in the lead and comfortably ahead of Lewis. Less than 10 laps to go. Let's bring this one home. Here we go then, through the stadium section for the final time. Confetti in the air, as it looks like we're going to come through to win our second race of the season after the Spanish Grand Prix, where we excelled in the wet conditions, and yet again at Mexico we have walked on water. We win the Mexican Grand Prix, and another 25 points for the championship, and maybe a World Championship lead to come with it, which we will confirm in a moment. So looking at the final race results, Mick Schumacher wins the Mexican Grand Prix ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Pierre Gasly, who also gets back on the podium after a couple of races. Sebastian Vettel can't convert his pole, only manages P4 ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Fernando Alonso in P6 in the Porsche there. Max Verstappen, Nico Hülkenberg, Charles Leclerc and Kimi Raikkonen ran out of top 10, but the Ferraris having a shocker of a Grand Prix on the Sunday. No pace in the wet weather whatsoever, and also Esteban Ocon down in P13 now on a 3-stop strategy. But in terms of the Drivers' Championship, we are 1 point behind Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton leads, Mick Schumacher second, Alonso now drops down to third place, and Vettel remains in P4. Bottas overtakes Ocon, and Leclerc actually drops down to the second half of the table, down to P11 there, and Ricciardo loses the place to Max Verstappen. But we now go to the Constructors Championship, and as you can see, Ferrari lead the way, as do Mercedes in second place, just 4 points behind the red cars, and Sauber, we overtake Porsche for third place. So it's extremely close. The top 4 teams covered by 13 points, and the top 5 covered by 39 as Red Bull are just a little bit further back. But overall, it's extremely close here. If you guys have enjoyed this episode of the Mick Schumacher Career Mode, then drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 and MotoGP content. Finally, check out these 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and see you on my next episode very soon. Goodbye.